Hi there, welcome back to another edition of the High Deseret Ranch channel. Today I'm going to bring you along for a journey. It's now high water season here in the high desert, over 6,000 feet. If you're new to the channel, welcome. For those of you returning, thank you. And here's a new thing that I've never experienced here in my adult life, and now that I've kind of helped taken over things, fifth generation rancher, farmer, whatever you want to call me, I'm learning the lessons of high water season. What that means, something that I haven't seen of like this in my entire life. You have to go back 40 years to see this kind of high water, and it's only the beginning. It's the first part of May, and it's going to get a lot worse or a lot better depending on how you want to look at it. But I'm going to come at you live, basically unedited. I'm just going to be chopping pieces together and putting them out, so bear with me, but come along and enjoy me and let me be your ticket to help escape the ordinary, only on the High Deseret Ranch channel. Alright, so day two of high water, day two, and yesterday was a very long day. It was about 15 hours from start to finish. As you now know, the sow, she didn't have her piglets, which is a good thing, because if she would have, they would have drowned in all that water. So I'm just starting out here, checking on all the high water and even the primary water. And for those of you that aren't familiar, out here in the high desert, most of our irrigation comes from the snowpack up on those mountains. We've had a record year, thank goodness. We've been in a drought cycle for some time, and so it's really nice to have high water that we really haven't had. Most in some of the years past, it's been a week, two at best, and it's not even been that great. So I'm going to show you what the primary ditch looks like, and it's only going to get even more water. And then right here is the high water ditch, which anything that can't be thrown into the primary ditch needs to be diverted. And it's diverted way up at those mountains, at the base of the mountains. And so high water, which is kind of what our primary ditches looked like in the past, is like this. And I've got it flowing out into the fields to give them much needed water. We actually have had a very dry April, and so the high water peaks at about 10 o'clock at night. 10 to midnight is when it peaks, and you could actually see evidence of that where it was overflowing a little bit. Now that doesn't look like a lot of water because in the high ditch, because well, it is, and I've got diverted up at two other points, so I'm letting some water come through to get to that point. So now I'm going to go over and check out the hogs, see if Tammy has birthed, and then also show you some of the high water work that we've been doing over there. Again, I'm glad we did, because as you'll see, the hog pens would have been flooded yet again. We dug the ditch to accommodate almost a CFS per minute, which is about 7.5 gallons, or excuse me, 7.5 gallons per second, 1 CFS. So I opened up the control mechanism, the gate to the high water, to allow it onto the property next to the hog pens. That way, as the water continued to go up, it's about 10:30 last night when I finally stepped off and went back home, and the water had not quite doubled. It was about 50% higher than what it was in the day when we were working on things. So I definitely, even though I wasn't quite ready to send water into that property, I sent it there anyways, just so we didn't flood out the hog pens again and cause even more of a mess. So let's go check it out and see what Tammy the sow is up to. She's farrowed, and also do a few chores, and like I say, show you all the hard work that both Shay and I did yesterday. So back close to where the hog pens are, what's truly incredible is to see that this high water, some of these high water ditches haven't seen water, especially this one, in several years, possibly over a decade. Most people look at this and say this is a high water ditch. Well, yes, just kind of naturally follows the contour of the land, where there used to be washes or something like that. And so they're just naturally they've taken advantage of the natural features to send high water down and then diverted at certain points. So I'm going to see just why the water is turned off. I know it's lower, and I would expect that because of the cooler temperatures, we down this far, we're not going to get that much high water. But as you can see, here's some other high water ditches that run down. Come up over here. Here's another old high water ditch, stuff that just hasn't. Again, because of the drought cycle, we haven't had that much water, and there's got to be a lot of saturation in these ditches to send water down. So I'm just trying to see this main high water head gate ditch, if there's any water flowing, and if so, how much. All right, so I'm hearing water, but this is actually one of the main ditches. We're about a mile down the ditch that I showed you earlier, and so the high water ditch is back up, it's right over to the right. So, but where that high water gate is further up here, back onto our property. So it's about a 40-acre parcel that separates the property with the hog pens and this east pasture. So I'm gonna go check it out. Might wake up a few deer on my way. The sagebrush here is pretty tall. In fact, there's another high water ditch. Plenty of water flowing through there. So this right here is actually a second high water ditch. And it's actually the original creek bed before they tamed the water with an irrigation system. So I don't know who turned off the water. It might have been the lady that lives next door. She doesn't have a lot of shares, but you've got 40 acres that we can water with high water, so I want to make sure that as much water as possible right now makes it onto that field, so that we not only have good feed throughout the summer, but also feed here in the winter. So, because here in the high desert, where we get 14 inches of precipitation total, and that includes even the rain, the water content in the snow. So right here is picking up that high water ditch. That fence is the fence line to our property. And now we're coming up to main head gate, or one of the head gates. For this high water ditch. And my neighbor said they did some backhoe work up here, and so obviously we got to clear out this fence, repair the fence, and that looks to be the case. Ouch. They said they did some backhoe work and even some concrete work too. So right over there, so I'm gonna hop the fence and go check it out. Wow, they really did do some work up here. Some concrete work. Took out the old concrete. They really dug some stuff out. Wow. My neighbor wasn't kidding. This is all just super old concrete. Looks like they got a culvert out over there that It used to run up here, and I'm not sure as to the reason why. I guess it diverts stuff out of the main water ditch, which I guess they know best. What needs to be taken out, what doesn't need to be taken out. So, but yeah, as you can see, here's the original creek bed. And that's another, over here, another auxiliary overflow. So, but yeah, all this is brand new up here. So, I'm gonna see if I can't block a few things and send some water our way. Alright, so I just called my neighbor. He's awesome. He came up, showed me what was going on up there, and it's kind of the Wild West. Kind of sad. It's kind of gone in reverse. 30, 40, 50 years ago, the irrigation company kind of watched out for everybody, took care of things, made sure everything was going all right, and now it's you're kind of on your own. So I'm not going to be around. I've got to go take some measurements of that head gate, figure out what I need to do, and he showed me some old timer tricks that I'm going to implement and go from there as far as what I need to do to get water flowing down that high water ditch. The water level just dropped, which doesn't surprise me. Like I said, it peaks at 10 to midnight, and then just kind of goes down from there. And today it's overcast. It's not going to be as warm, which I'm totally fine with. The last 2 days have been very warm, really warm. So we don't need all that snowpack coming down as fast as it is. So anyways, it's something I'm gonna go do. Now let's go check the pigs and see just exactly if Tammy is, if she's farrowed. I checked on her last night when I left at just after 10:30, and she's up and around, walking, eating some food, getting a drink of water. So we'll see if and she hadn't pigged here early this morning, so I'm gonna go back and check on her. So you can see the aftermath of the flooding. Things are still dry. So Tammy still hasn't farrowed yet. No, not yet. How do you feel this morning, Shane? I feel good. Yeah? Hungry. There she still hasn't pigged. I'm sore. I didn't know if your wrists are sore from working the controls, or maybe mental capacity.
Yeah.
Your brain.
A little sunburn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can dig in your sleep, so yeah, probably if anything, sunburn. Alright, picking this up here in the evening time. I'm gonna come check up on Tammy, see if she's had piglets yet, which still nothing. Tammy. Oh, I'll come back and check up on her, give her some food and some water. But she has two spots. She's got a spot over here that she's kind of dug out. So we'll see. But we don't really have a shed for her. The nights aren't that crazy cold right now. We've kind of had a little heat wave. But we'll keep an eye on her. But right now in the fading light, I want to take you up to this water gate. I've got to take some measurements and then go from there as far as cutting down some boards so I can dam up, send more water down this high water ditch. So come on, let's go up there and check it out. All right, so there's, like I figured, there's plenty of high water. We're starting to get into where it's definitely like a roller coaster. We're going up the roller coaster in the crescendo and in the fading light. I'm trying to get up there so I can see just exactly what's going on. But here you go. So it's flowing good. I gotta talk to the guy if I can bring the truck up onto the property. Absolutely gorgeous day in the setting sun. So I've got some rough cut timber with me right here. I didn't have a tape measure this morning. I just wanted to go investigate, see why we wasn't getting any water. Now that I know why, I can make arrangements. Again, high water, when it's there, you take what you can get. And so that's exactly what I do within reason. There's a couple of us that I've got to share high water with, but here where I'm at, there's just me and another person, and then one other guy, not my neighbor. So, and he's taken all the water he can possibly want. And then I've got my neighbor to the west, and she's just got a small field. And yesterday, I did the math. Conservatively, she received about 200,000 gallons of water on her 5 acres. She basically got flooded out. She was really worried she wasn't going to get any high water this year. And I thought, trust me, lady, it's going to be plenty of water. And so, being on day 2, that's just exactly it. There's plenty of water to go around. I'll pick this back up when I get up to the gate. Before I send more high water down this ditch, this is the kind of stuff you're going to see regardless, but where the water hasn't been run for 10 years, you're just going to find that. So before I send water down, definitely need to clear that. And an old trick too, because we also have a problem, you're going to see it right here. So we got to look what's happening. The water's flowing over, but it's washed out and it's going just straight underneath here. So I've got to return with a few things. So right over there is for my neighbor. And then this is for, excuse me, this is like the outlet, the release, the emergency release gate. So my neighbor gets his water right there, and then this is where ours goes and what we get. And this is just back in 1983 when we had massive flooding. They had to dig this brand new ditch just to filter out all the water. It's the only way to get it past the highway and down to the river where it could be safely taken care of, no problem in the riverbank. So anyways, I forgot to bring my tripod, so I'm going to measure this and see if this rough cut lumber will work. Go back, get a few things, and go from there. I don't know if I'll do it. Stuff always happens at night. I first want to dam this up and then show you the trick that works almost as good as cement when it comes to this kind of thing to help seal up this hole. So I'm going to grab some measurements and so when the water really gets humming, I just want to show you this. This is where it's going to be a problem. Even though they got a big cement chunk, it's going to there's so much water. Before the other night, we had to bring down an excavator. It was pouring around this cement gate area. It wasn't ever built right. There needs to be wings that go out just to help control the water, get it away from these gates and on down the channel. But unfortunately that wasn't done. And the other morning, it was just there's so much water coming down here. It was pouring around those gates over there, and it's pouring around these gates right here. So I'm hoping. Awesome. So this is actually going to work out perfect, this rough cuff lumber. And what I'll do is be able to stack it. So I'm going to have to be really careful, because I'll either end up washing out, but you can see what is being done. You can stack up these boards however high. So if I want to block it, basically it's the main channel, block that up to send more water down my way, that can easily be done. Catches, it's all on me. If I dam up too much water and send it downstream, or vice versa, I want to block just my water, so none of that water right now. I mean, that's a couple gallons a second right there. Now, mind you, it's, you know, it's an earthen ditch, but you know, that's still gonna contribute some water. So anyways, that being said, I think this will work. I've got to get a few things cleaned out. I've already walked the ditch. I did this morning with you guys, and besides just right there where I just seen, I think we're good to go. So anyways, I'll keep getting it to it, and we'll pick this back up tomorrow.